Hey y'all. For those who don't know me, I am Hellena Dior, aka Nina. I am the author of No Longer Sharecropping Shame, and I help women shed their shame and gain inner harmony. I am a survivor of childhood abuse and trauma, and I share my experiences coping with and healing from such a life. So, I was thinking about time and how, as I'm getting older, I feel like time is going by so quickly. When I was a kid, time moved completely slow all the time. Birthdays took forever to get here, holidays took forever to get here, and now everything speeds by. And I get frustrated sometimes because there just is not enough time in the day. I know that time is a social construct and we have as much time as we think we have. And if we get up in the mornings and you stretch and thank God for another day, and then the next thought in your mind is, all right, well, now I got to get up, I got to get my kid off to school, and I'm going to be late because I'm going to have to rush because she moves slower than one open register at a crowded Dollar Tree. And I have to get ready, I have to get dressed, I have to do hair and makeup, I have to figure out what's for dinner. I have X, Y, and Z projects to complete for work, and I need to hurry up because the project alphabet is about to restart. You have all these tasks and all these things, and all of this stuff like flooding your brain on your brain's like task treadmill. And it automatically is going to make you feel like there is not enough time in the day. And when you think like that, you're right. There's not. There's not enough time because you don't think there's enough time. You don't believe that there's enough time. You have one foot out of bed and already started your day off lacking time. So now you've set the entire trajectory of your day. That's how it's going to be because that's what you believed it to be. There's no way, absolutely no way, and I'm talking to myself. There's no way to complete all of the things on our list at one time. My goal list for 2020 has over 200 goals on it. I can't finish all that in a day, a week, a month. I may or may not even be able to complete them all this year, but I believe it's absolutely possible for me to hit all 200 plus this year. And if not, that's cool too. The best isn't something I've seen yet. My best is not something I've seen yet. So I should try my best in everything, I know. And I should like try my hardest, but my best is always changing. It evolves. It's like technology, like how phones have evolved. Not since the phone's invention, but just during my lifetime. When I was a kid, in the kitchen we had a tan rotary phone. And it had the little, the rotary, the dial. So the cord was dumb long. You could walk from the kitchen down the hallway to my grandparents' bedroom and tell them they had a call. Then we upgraded. We got a phone with the little push buttons. We still had that cord though, long enough to choke like 3 or 4 toddlers behind you without you even knowing. Then we moved up in life and we got a cordless phone, which was like the size of a textbook. But it was perfect because I was a teenager and I had a pager and I wanted to make my calls with some privacy. I thought I was an adult and I wanted to act like it. So I would take the cordless and go sit out on the front steps and make all my phone calls. But even looking back at like all of that, and then the progressions that were the phones, I guess, I don't know. As the phone evolved, eventually I had like the big Nokia, I had a flip, I had the chirp walkie-talkie, so many improvements, so many changes. Now we're at the point where I cannot leave my house without my phone. It's supposed to be good. It's supposed to be the best to be able to move freely and to remain constantly in communication even though you're not home. But is it though? We walk around with the NSA or whoever else is listening on our person. People now know that they can reach us at all times, even if they don't speak to you, if you don't pick up. They know they can leave a voicemail or a text. Of course, at the time, I never thought about it, but now I miss when my grandma would walk down the hall with that cord and tell me whoever was on the phone. And I could tell her to tell them that I wasn't home, or have her tell them that she needed to make a call and I would have to call them later. If I had a means of communication, choice, option right now, I would go backward to that time period. It was pre caller ID, it was prehistoric in so many ways, but when I look at it now, it was more freeing. I wasn't tied down to people knowing that they can get in contact with me. But because it was comfortable in the past does not mean it's what's for me or what's best for me at this point in my life. Eventually, I will have my tiny house to visit, to retreat and recharge, and it's going to be off the grid. I'm going to have some lands where I can be barefoot and plant whatever it is I want. But right now, I am a mom with a kid at school. There are people throughout the day that I need to speak to, people who I need to have the option of communicating, or vice versa. And if I don't have like my laptop or my iPad handy, I still essentially have a computer that fits in my hands, either in my pocket or my bag. Our tasks are always changing. My best is always changing, but time is going to continue to move. So we can't expect for it to wait for us to catch up. We have to move and put things into action. Every single year, every single day, we lose people. When I've lost people, I've questioned life. But beyond the just like, why God, or, it was too soon. I've tried to figure out, how in the world am I supposed to set everything in motion that I have planned to accomplish? How can I do this when time is just going to end? But my 10-year-old gave me some different perspective and reminded my spirit. I don't know if it's just me or how I parent, but she can do something physically, and I can think of every possible injury she can get if one part of that goes wrong. Simple stuff. You don't even want to hear how my mind works at sports or playgrounds with her. So we were staying with someone, and my daughter was walking downstairs, and she was wrapped up in a blanket, and her arms are underneath the blanket, like holding the blanket around her. And it's a big blanket. It's probably like a full or queen size blanket dragging around her feet. So every time she walked down the steps, I was anxious. And I realized that I was holding my breath until she reached the bottom of the stairs. Another reason that I have to stay in control of my mind and my thoughts, because we make thoughts things and we manifest those things. So I have to be in control of that, or my mind goes places I don't want it to go. So in my mind, she could fall down those steps. She can't break her fall because her arms are inside the blanket. Her feet get stuck. She tumbles down the steps and literally breaks her face, and whichever other bone you can think of, all break. So it was giving me anxiety. And I started telling her, like, every single time she walked around in that blanket, be careful. Pick it up from around your feet. Then finally, she had enough of me. She asked me, why do you keep telling me to be careful with the blanket when you just told me the day before? I'm being careful and I'm paying attention. So I told her, one, because I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to fall and break your face or hurt yourself. And two, because I don't want to have a heart attack and die because I imagined every possible bad thing, and then Lifetime movie magnified them all in my head. So she hit me with the Naima sigh. That's something she does now more and more. She's smart. She's so smart, and she's so full of God's wisdom and empathy and discernment and insight. And it's to the point that sometimes when she does something that's age appropriate, that's completely normal, I have to stop and remind myself that she's not a small adult. I have to remind myself that she's only 10. But she gives me the Naima sigh, and she's like, oh, Mom, words have life. Nothing is going to happen to me. God knows I still have a lot to do with my life, and you're not going to die worrying about it. God isn't going to have you go anywhere until you complete your purpose. That's how she talks. So Y'all, like, even just repeating that makes my heart full. First off, I'm proud of her. I'm proud that she's listening and she's paying attention, even in the times and in the moments I'm not too sure of what I'm doing. I'm not sure if she's listening. I'm not sure if I'm doing a good job parenting, but she's right. God had a plan before time began. I'm going to complete what He has set out for me to complete. I just have to get out of my own way and stop blocking my blessings by feeling unqualified and unworthy and ashamed. I can't continue to fool myself and have my mind believe that my fear and my procrastination is me waiting on God or me being patient. In 3 days, I've heard 2 different people speak about Jonah. Sidebar. So, I have 2 churches I go to that I stream, that I fellowship with, that I learn from, that I sow into, that pour into me, that I love. And both of them are led by 2 beautiful, transparent, God-filled couples that sow into me and pour into me the same but differently. They know me fully and completely, but on different levels. And I've been a member of Open Wings for almost 6 years, so I'm extremely spiritually and personally connected to them there. But I can be honest with all of them, Pastor D and Pastor Tay at Open Wings in Georgia, and Pastor David and Tammy at True Christian in North Carolina. And there's never condemnation or judgment. It's all love. I can say whatever I want. I can be as honest as I want, and it's love. And in recent months, I have definitely had my fair share of let me introduce you to who I used to be moments. But I've been able to call Tay and contact Tay and talk her ear off about how I wanted to dog walk somebody or how I wanted to see if my right hand is still strong as it used to be. And she let me vent. She let me express every single emotion and feeling I had. And then she reminded me that those temporary feelings can cause a permanent setback, and it is too expensive for me to react. But just knowing I can pour out like that, like I have real relationships with them, transcending the natural, spiritually as well, to the point where I don't even know if they're aware. But if you're not, guys, Pastor D, Pastor Tay, and Pastor David and Tammy, I don't plan on bringing the man I'm going to marry to my parents or to other family members to get their approval and opinion. I do care what they think, but even though we're all basically the same age, in so many ways, my pastors are my spiritual siblings, my spiritual mentors, and I know that they will be able to see things in the potential spouse or potential person that my biological family cannot see. So anyway, in 3 days, I've heard 2 people talk about Jonah. On Sunday, Pastor David didn't speak. Another leader, Geneva, she brought the word. I have had Jonah all wrong. I still had the cartoon or the VeggieTales version in my mind. In the Nina animated version, Jonah's in the ocean. God has him swallowed by a whale or a large fish, and Jonah is chilling in the whale. He is reading books on a beach chair in the water, and there's not a lot of water, just a little floating around his feet, like low tide at the beach. And then 3 days later, God has the whale spit him out, and that's it. But that's not it. Geneva works in early childhood education, so I love when she teaches because she can show me parts of things that I've heard before but I've never examined. So we know what it's like when someone cleans fish or when you go to the fish market. That smell, it's awful. So the stuff that's cleaned out of the fish is gross. Jonah was stuck in all of that for 3 days. When Jonah began to pray and remember all of the good things that God had done, then God had the fish vomit Jonah up. Vomit. He wasn't spit out in a small, clean, ocean-like wave. It was vomit. It was fish vomit. And Jonah still wound up going to where God told him to go in the first place. So he went through all that. got thrown up by a whole nasty big old fish, and he still wound up doing what he told you to do. But Jonah's disobedience and getting in his own way caused delays on multiple levels. Where Jonah set out to go on his own, it was only 4,500 miles away. Not only where God told Jonah to go was 500 miles away. So then last night, I watched a live of Open Wings Bible Study, Living Water Bible Study, which is taught by Darlene. And last night, it was taught by Darlene and her husband. They brought the word for real last night. It was so on point. It was so for me. It was such a good Bible study. And I know that I was supposed to watch every single second of it. It was so needed for me and so necessary. I watched the whole thing. I took notes, and then I rewatched it to make sure I missed nothing. And then I went to sleep. But in the Bible study, Darlene brought up Jonah too. So when she said his name, I was like, okay, I need to be paying attention. I expect to hear about Jesus if I'm listening to 2 teachings or going to 2 sermons in a few days. But Jonah's not somebody I hear about often. So Darlene mentioned how by running, we can delay and affect other people. Even when I know I'm doing harm to myself, I don't want anyone else to be affected by it. But Jonah delayed the fisherman because he was the cause of the storm. Jonah was delayed in going to I don't even know how to say the word, Nineveh, where God sent him to speak. And he in turn caused a delay for the people who were there that he was sent to speak to. After hearing all of this and rereading Jonah again for myself, I realized that our time is not our time. We serve a bigger purpose in ourselves. So we have to stop wasting time. We have to move in a timely manner because we don't know how much time we have left. There's not time to worry and wander and wonder. There's no time to fear and talk down to ourselves or talk ourselves out of our purpose. Our purpose is still our purpose. Our gifts are still our gifts. That's not going to change. But I'm not trying to be like Jonah anymore. And I know I've been him. I don't want to continue to think that it doesn't matter and I shouldn't try because there's not enough time. But I don't want to think that I have all the time in the world either. I want to make full efficient usage of the time that I have. I don't want to just exist. I want to live. I don't want to pay a price to go somewhere I wasn't supposed to go. I don't want to be in a storm and thrown from a ship, swallowed by a fish, trapped in the dark in fish waste, then vomited up in order to get to my destination when I could have just been obedient. Although I know I'm not going to go through these things literally. I know for a fact that I have been through these things mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and I don't want to go back. I'm not going to blame anybody else for the delays in my healing journey. I'm not going to blame anyone else for the blessings that I block, because the biggest delays are caused by what I allow myself to think and believe, and then in turn feel those things about myself. Then, because I believed it, my actions are going to reflect all the negativity. It's going to reflect all of those negative beliefs that I've put on myself. Time's a gift. I can't go through it like it's all task or a checklist. I have to remind myself constantly that I am here to live, not just exist. So, thanks for watching. If you don't already follow me, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all are Hellena Dior. Then on YouTube, Hellena Dior Vlogs, and HelenaDior.com. Help if I can say my name. So the book is No Longer Sharecropping Shame, if you haven't checked that out yet. But just keep in mind, our time here is short and it's precious, and we need to cherish it, but we also need to move in it. So be blessed. Peace and blessings. Take care.